Okay, good morning and welcome. I'm Bob Pace. I'm your host of this podcast called Fight CPS with Bob Pace and hang on to your children. Get your children back. Don't let your children go. I would give a warm welcome to all of you that tuned in to listen. Um, this particular subject matter is probably something very difficult. It really hurts me a lot to talk about because I've experienced it myself. You're getting somebody that has been caught up in CPS for 15 years. 5 years with just allegations that were constantly being unfounded, and then the next 3 years they took my children. They fostered my children in foster care. They trafficked them. They did alienation, which are illegal. But anyway, um, I want to warmly welcome you. I'm a father of six children, a loving father, a family man. Been married for 31 years, and part of my family has grown up. The older ones were living on their own when this incident happened at the age of 60. And at age 60, I had lost my job through no fault of my own. I had no control over it. State of California reneged on some contracts, and my company had to close the store. Um, so it's hard at that age finding work. Meanwhile, it was announced to me that I had a in-laws family that never liked us as a family, never came to our wedding 31 years ago, and never were supportive. Always tried to take over family. When they heard I lost a job, they thought that was an opportunity to take our beautiful young children. We have two groups. We have three older children, two girls and a boy, and three younger children, two girls and a boy. That's how it worked out. And at that time, they were 9, 12, and 15. At the time, they were taken 5 years later when I was age 65. And that was the worst time ever. So, uh, boy, hmm. So it's been a really uphill battle. But I hope that I can share with you things that will help you. I'm not an attorney. I'm somebody with a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge in my lifetime. I'm a dinosaur now. I'm 73 years old, if you can believe that. But I'm still trying to find a good career type job. And I really care about families. I care about people that are caught up in the CPS, the child protection system. I call it the child protection system. I know that in different states, there's different acronyms for it. Like in Arizona's Department of Children's Services. In Kentucky, it's the Bureau of Family and Services. Um, all I'm saying is that anything that deals with protection of our children from neglect or abuse and does family reunification, that's the CPS system I'm talking about. And welcome, Faye. I'm glad you came in. I guess you got the notification. Had a rough start this morning. Um, my room wasn't set up, so I was creating a room, and then my room was set up. So I'm trying to balance between that and the seminar that I'm taking. I do have to leave at 10:45, so I'll try to cover as much as I can for you there. So, um, Okay. Uh, okay. Okay, I'm trying to find out. Okay. Um, oh, good. You sent to my other number. Good, good, good. Good morning, Rosemary Lombardo. My daughter come home yesterday from foster care with all the things she has collected over a year and a half. Wow. It did come true. Then your daughter is home. Congratulations, Rosemary. That's so good. That's so good. Rosemary now has some good information. Now, what I want to do is tell you how they interact with this podcast. Um, um, I'm going to see what the link that Faye has sent me. I wish I could play the link here. Let me see here, Faye. Oh boy. Ah. Okay. This is what Faye wanted me to share with the room. Kentucky man neglected, left in the filth at Richmond jail before death. Lawsuit says a 33-year-old Berea man died shortly after he starved and was left in his own excrement for days at a time during his week-long incarceration at the Madison County Detention Center in 2023. A new lawsuit claims a Kentucky medical examiner ruled in an autopsy that the medical neglect contributed to Baker's death 3 weeks after he was taken by ambulance. Wow, that is a pretty horrible news story there, Faye. Um, Now, the feds are okay. Let's see, catch up there. Um, I'm bouncing around right now because I got so many things coming at me. I'll try my best to handle it all. Rosemary says the trauma is still going and the case not over yet, but she's been released to me. Well, I'm so happy to hear that. That's one of the better news. I'm glad you share it with me, Rosemary. Um, that's what Rosemary said right there. Oh, I did have it there. Where'd it go? Oh, yeah, released to me. Okay. And then Faye says the feds are investigating the juvenile detention center for the same thing. Oh my god, I don't know why this MCDC for adults don't get investigated because he's just one of many that have died in jail due to the staff neglect. Yeah, I think adults that are have mental issues, special needs adults, are just as bad as the kids here, and that is really tragic, Faye. That is really tragic. That's almost the worst story of the child case I've heard of, where a mother goes on vacation, leaves her 14-month-old baby. This is in Ohio, alone for 14 days while the baby was in a jumper device, and he died right there on the um, in the jumper. When the mother came home, the baby was died, so he was dead. It was really sad. It was really sad. Let me finish how to interact in this room in here. One of the first ways you interact with this room is that um, one of the first ways you interact with this room just by being a listener, just by being in here. And so um, I not expect you to type in a comment or make a phone call or be a guest, but those are other ways you can interact. But right now, just by being a participant in this room is really great. I'm glad to have you here. Listen, take notes, and see how we can help you. The second way is if you want to ask comments, um, all you have to do is text in your comment, and it should be about CPS, have pertain to something about CPS, the Child Protection System. It should be something about the Child Protection System. And the it could be a question or a comment, either or. Please show your name, city, state, or country, and be complete with your CPS case. Be complete with your CPS case. Now, when I mention country, I do have countries that listen in on the show. We are worldwide, by the way. We go around the world because everybody has Facebook. And you found me on Facebook, how to fight the fighting CPS with Bob Pace. That's how you found me on Facebook. And I'm broadcasting on YouTube using the SteamYard application. It's the SteamYard application. And it has a comment section. And all you have to do is type in and put your name, your city, state, and country. And then when I go back to the country, some of the countries that we have had has been Bangladesh, New Delhi, India, Africa. We've had the South Africa province, one of them, Texan. We've had Mozambique, the country of Mozambique on the east coast of Africa, across from Madagascar, and then we've had Rwanda, which is Central East Africa, next to Lake Victoria. And Rwanda was really bad in the 1994. The whole country had 1 million people wiped out. They were killed. They were slaughtered. They were murdered. And then 500,000 females were raped. It was a horrific thing to happen to them. But um, they are better off now than they were back in '94. Now, another country in Africa has been Liberia. Now, Liberia is on the west coast of northern Africa, and a gentleman named Archie has texted in many times about his program. He does scouting, girls and boys and scouting. It used to be Boy Scouts, but it's now called scouting, and that's where they have girls and boys. And he is interested in how we handle the CPS issues and things like that. So he texts in many times, and then we go up to Europe, and we've had England, Scotland, Wales, the United Kingdom, and they've expressed their problems with CPS, very similar to ours here in the States. I've also had Denmark and Sweden text in too, and that is great. I welcome the people. We welcome people from around the world because CPS is a worldwide issue. We need to protect our children. For so long we've abused our children since I don't know since the beginning of mankind. It seems like just a lot of times it goes unnoticed what we've done to children. But then across the pond, I've had Canada, both coasts, talk to me, and then I've had um, uh, all 50 states have either commented or texted me, and including Washington D.C. And it's been horrific. I've also had two social workers call on the show, and both talked pretty extensive time about how they do things with the children that they are trying to protect and so forth. And it's nice to hear their point of view, but 99% of the cases are that CPS is corrupt. They steal your children, and they do it strictly for the money part of things. What's happened is $1 trillion business now. It is very corrupt. It's corrupt so bad in Kentucky. Every time I talk to Faye, she has something new to say. It's really a heartache because she had her daughter taken from her, and she was a foster care herself. And when she was young, she was in it 5 times. Her mother was bad. She loves her mother. Her mother's gone, but her mother was the cause of her. She had a poor, poor childhood, but she came out okay. She got her high school degree, and she had relationships in life. But the only thing is, CPS will not forget you. If you're a child in foster care, if you grow up and have children, they'll come and get your children. I don't know what it is about CPS, but they think it's easy prey to get people that have been foster care themselves. And they feed on people that are going through crisis in their life. Like with me, I lost my job, and at age 60, I didn't know how I could get another job, and I had all these expenses to pay. And it's just it's heart wrenching. And in 2010, I've not had a career job since 2010. I've had one job for a while, but they seem how sometimes they don't like dinosaurs. They don't like dinosaurs working, I guess. But long as I can still surf and skateboard and run and still make love and still care for people, then I'm okay. I'm okay. And so um, I'm a fully functional man, and I love families. I love children, and so I do want to help you guys out there because what you're going through is a horrible case. Now, to be complete with your case, whether you comment in or you phone call in, it's very important that you start off with the makeup of your family. What kind of family do you have? Is it a husband, wife? Is it a boyfriend, girlfriend? Is it lovers? Is it a partnership? Are you a single parent? Are both parents involved? Are the kids same parents, or do they have multiple dads or multiple moms? So tell me, your makeup of your family. Then tell me what the allegations were: neglect or abuse. A little bit of details of either, and it could be both. And then after that, tell me how they got your children. Did you allow them in the house? Did they have a warrant? Was there domestic violence going on where they broke in? How did they get your children? How did you do that? And that would be important to tell me. And then where your case is at. Where your case is at. That's all I need. That'd be complete. So try to do that with you if you can there. Now a third way is to be a guest on the show. To be a guest on the show. Yeah, I agree with you, Faye. It's all about money. CPS is all about money. Well, to be a guest on the show, I have a show producer. Her name is Grace. She works it very hard, what she does, and I admire her as a person. She works behind the scenes. She keeps this show running, and she looks after me and so forth, and helps me a lot. But if you want to be a guest, I'd love to have you as a guest. Last night, my host came on for the first time in a couple of months. That was Danielle. I was so happy to have her back. And with Faye and Danielle, it really completes the show. I love having them, and with Natalie and Christina and all the rest of you people. There's so many of you that have become regulars on my show. It's really great, and I enjoy talking to all of you. But to be a guest, all you have to do is write an email to Grace. Now her email address is grace@vincentwdavis.com. Grace@vincentwdavis.com, and she'll help you, give you the link, get on SteamYard, and tell you what you can do and not do, like no smoking, no eating. Don't use the names of children or judges or lawyers or social workers in your case. And so um, she'll tell you how to be a guest. So all you do is email grace@vincentwdavis.com. So that's the third way. Now I'd like to get to the fourth way, which is you call in my office number. Now my office number is 626 698 And you'll reach, I use Vonage on my phone, and you'll reach my office, and they will they will uh, put you, not they will, but you'll call me direct line. That's a direct line to my phone. It's 626 698 0990. They'll reach my phone. I'm using Vonage. It's a stream application, internet application stream. So it goes live there. So I'll put you on speakerphone, um, and everybody will be able to hear you. And if you could start off at the beginning, what kind of a family arrangement you have, and then what were the allegations and where you're at on your case, that would really help me. And then we can go ahead and do that. So that's how you interact. You one by being in the show is one way. Two is texting comments. Three is to email uh, Grace to be on my show as a guest, and four is the call in. Those are the four ways to interact. Mm. Now, this morning, does anyone want to call in? People are listening, and ask me a question or help. Or do you guys want me to talk about the topics? I have about 71 topics loaded, and I can talk about things like the ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act of 1978, or the talk about the 380 motion to force the judge to have a hearing about new evidence and so forth. Or I could talk about any lot of other things there. Now, oh, we got a phone call. Great. Hello, good morning.
Hi, Mr. Pace. It's Jessica from New York again.
Oh, hi, this is Jessica, right?
Yes, sir.
Jessica, can you remind me where you're from?
New York.
Right, you're New York, and is it Rochester or is it
I'm in Richmond County, Staten Island.
Old Staten Island area? Okay. All right, Jessica. I know you've been on before, and can you help me out? What are your latest questions, your latest part of your case?
Well, we had court today. I did everything that they asked. They wanted me to take a parenting class, but they've been dragging their feet on the parenting class. So I found a parenting class through the court's website, and I completed the parenting class, which my lawyer brought up at the hearing today. And they said the parenting class isn't good enough. They want me to take another class.
They're
They're not
now who
trying
said
to
that? The
return the kids.
judge? Who said that? The judge?
The ACS, it's CPS out here. It's called ACS.
Right. Now,
ACS does that.
why did the ACS um, that's something that the judge was. Why would they ask that in court?
No, CPS is the one that's trying to request the parenting class. The judge didn't mandate it.
Well, okay, but what hearing was this when you went to? What hearing was this?
This disposition.
Okay, the deposition hearing. Now, at the deposition hearing, um, what was discussed by the judge?
The judge wasn't there. It was held online. It was a lady that was representing the judge, I guess. Um, they didn't really talk about giving me back my kids. They were trying to set up services and stuff for my kids in foster care.
This is what a deposition
Yeah.
hearing is supposed to be, and you tell me if it's something like this. It's a court proceeding that happens after a defendant, which is you, Jessica, has entered a plea or been found guilty in a criminal case. The purpose of the hearing is to determine the next steps in such a case, such as whether it goes to trial or end with a plea. And then some outcomes are depositions, including a guilty plea, acquittal, conviction, or dismissal. Now, this is usually for a criminal. Now, see, in CPS, let me see what it CPS New York. Okay, I'm going to get that.
ACS out here. It's the
Okay, I'm
Administration
sorry.
of Child Services.
What's it stand for?
Administration for Child Services.
ACS, New York. Okay. New York State government. Now let's see what they're saying here. Now, did it start? Have you seen the parent handbook for ACS yet?
Yeah, they gave one to me a
Right.
week ago.
Okay. Now, in the parent handbook, because I have one right here in front of me, um, it says the goal of the NYC Administration for Children's Services, ACS, is to keep children safe and families supported. We take this responsibility very seriously and understand that child protection investigations can be intrusive and stressful process. We recognize and respect parents' rights as well as their bonds with and love for their children. Now,
That's what it says. It's not so much what they do.
I
That's
know
what it says.
this is what I'm saying. That they have a handbook, and sometimes you have to read that for them because they don't seem to. And they have really good. The handbook has an intro, a key resource for parents' rights, child protection investigation, foster care, responsible chart, what happens if a child is placed in
Yeah.
foster care, and so forth. So they got all this thing in the handbook. It's pretty extensive.
Well, the key resource for my area, I'm in Staten Island, is legal aid, and legal aid doesn't deal with the parents. They only deal directly with the children when they've been court mandated to. There are no resources in my area. There's no advocacy groups, nothing like that out here.
Really? Do you are you given a court appointed attorney?
Yeah, I have a court appointed attorney.
And
I've
right now
also
you
paid
can't you
for
can't
legal
afford
shield, so I
you
have
cannot
access to
afford
another
a
attorney.
right you cannot afford an attorney, right?
Yeah.
See that's the hard part. When you can't afford an attorney, they really railroad you over because the court appointed attorneys, won't do anything.
Well, I'm trying as much as I can to make his job as easy as possible. So all he has to do is show what I've shown him. And I've done everything that they asked. Everything they asked me to install new stuff, it's been installed. They were complaining that my hands child prints were on the walls, which is a family tradition. I painted the walls, you know.
I remember you
Everything that they
telling me
asked me to
that,
do, I
right?
did. They wanted me to do parenting classes. I paid out of pocket for a parenting class. And I gave the certificate to ACSN. I sent the certificate to my lawyer. And when my lawyer brought it up in court, they said that the parenting class that I got through the court website wasn't good enough. I said that I had to do a parenting class through a rehab center, a rehabilitation center. Um, they didn't really talk about returning the children to me at any time. But the foster mother was in a hearing today, and I'm worried for my kids because she was saying that my daughter was overeating to the point where she was throwing up. My son would put food in his mouth and then spit it out, and they would leave him to eat the food off of the floor, and they let him play in garbage, and I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
Okay, has a
Because
court
when
been?
they're home, this isn't an issue. They never overeat. There's always food available, and it's healthy, fresh, homemade food from scratch. And they don't overeat. I don't have to deal with them spitting out food or eating food off of the floor. And they don't play in garbage. She was saying that my child has autism because she was twirling around, and I don't understand what I could do for my kids. They're not trying to bring them home. They're trying to put them in all kinds of services.
Well, the problem is you're
And
working against one problem. It's the money part. You need to make money off your kids. So most cases last 3 years. I mean, my case was 3 years, and they stretch it out so they get a lot of money from you, from the state. The money isn't from you; it's from the state because your child is in the foster care system. That's where they make the money. It's $1 trillion business, not billion, not million, $1 trillion business. Now, that court appointed.
my kids are being damaged
Yeah, I know
by
they
them.
are. They were. My kids were damaged too. They're still having problems. Right now, my son, who's 24 now, and he was taken at 15 and returned at the age of 18, he has damage to his head where he has to see a doctor almost every other day. And it was so disruptive that his life fell apart in his senior year of college. That's how bad that the child protection system is. And my young daughter, who was 12 at the time, um, divorced, was forced to divorce her parents, change her name, seal her birth certificate, and be in foster care. And later, the foster care hurt her, so she's now living it with her older daughter. But she's messed up. And my youngest son, he's trying to do okay. He's starting college in a couple weeks, and I know how you feel. I know what's going through your mind. I'm really sorry what has happened to you. Um,
I've done everything they asked of me,
Yeah, I know you
and
have, and that's the sad part is that I would cry myself to bed every night because over those 3 years it was torture for me. It was torture. For 3 years, I had to put my life on hold. I had to sell my home, the home that I worked 40 years, bare bones, 60 hours a week to get a home for my family. I had to sell it. My credit's been ruined. Right now, I'm 73 years old, still struggling. And I know what CPS does. It ruins you for life. You should hear Faye right now. Faye has all kinds of issues. She's in the room right now, and she'll tell you about her issues. And all she's trying to do right now, she's lost her daughter, but she's trying to gain custody of her older son, who's a special needs kid. And my co-host came on last night, Danielle, and she was supposed to have her son returned, but now they still keep him, although even though he's 19 years old now, they'll still keep him in child protection service. They're not supposed to. He's a special need kid. His mother's trying to do foster care. So I know, and that's not the answer you want to hear, but you have to keep doing your best you can and demand to see your children, demand them to be returned home, and work that court-appointed attorney the way he should be worked?
Well, what I did, I reached out to my local legislator and I told them that I needed help. I kept it as short as I could, but I let them know, the ACS worker removed my kids without a court order. Um, she committed perjury in front of the judge, in the judge's face, in the courtroom, and I'm worried about my kids because of what this woman is saying. They took my kids from my home where they were happy and they were healthy, and now they stuck them in a place where they're leaving them to eat food off of the floor and play in garbage, and that's somehow safer than the home that they were in.
What did the legislator say to you? Was it a senator or was it a representative?
It's an assemblyman,
Oh,
and I'm waiting.
it's a state when it's not your federal government. It's not a congressman, is it?
Not yet.
Okay.
I'm gonna send out and reach out and see if anybody would be willing to help me
Well, that's what
because
you
there's
gonna.
nobody
Yeah,
out here.
yeah. Well, you have that parent handbook, so that does help you a little bit. But what you have to do, um, you need to get before a judge. So the deposition you're hearing is not before the judge. Um, they have not taken away your rights to your kids yet, right?
No, it hasn't even been a month that they've been gone yet.
Okay. Well, you're
But
so much
ACS, they're
lucky.
waiting until the last minute to do everything.
Yep,
So
that's
they
typical.
came, they did a deep cleaning service inside of the house yesterday. I had to stay home for half of the day for the deep cleaning service. And then the second half of the day, I wasn't available. And they decided that they were going to pop up and do a home inspection without any prior notice when I'm not home.
Right.
And now they're saying, oh, well, we haven't been able to complete an inspection, but you waited until the last minute to show up without letting me know so I could be available for you. The judge told them that they wanted a friend of the family's house to be inspected. They did it yesterday, 6 hours before the date of the hearing. That's when they decided to do the inspection while the kids are in the system. When there's a perfectly good home, there's two perfectly good homes that are available to them right now, but they're dragging their feet. The woman,
Oh.
she hasn't been able to find anything about anybody inside the system. She couldn't find their insurance. She couldn't find their medical records. She couldn't find their education records. She couldn't find anything inside the system, and she's blaming me because she's not doing her job. She's
Wow.
waiting until the last minute to drag everything out. And then I have to hear about all the things that she's not doing at court.
Understand. Um, Jessica, one moment, please. I want to welcome Crystal Salazar from Amarillo, Texas, who came in the room, and she stopped by and she has an update on her case. And if you could uh, put a comment in, Crystal, so the whole room can read it. Right now, for all your listeners out there, I have Jessica from New York. She's besides herself because right now her kids have been taken away from her on trumped up charges and they're being fed garbage off the floor and no one seems to be listening to her. She's trying to contact her local assemblyman of New York, try for help. But I think what you're going to have to do is you need to get a court hearing. You need to get before that judge and say this and have your attorney put stuff before the judge that you say that is happening. Um, One thing bad about using a court attorney, you don't allowed to talk in court. You're not allowed to talk in court. So when you use a court-appointed attorney, and so it's really
And
it's
he won't talk to me outside of court. He doesn't answer my phone calls. He doesn't
no.
return
You
my
know why?
messages.
Because he has a caseload of 30 people who don't have time. Court-appointed attorneys, my feeling, are a waste of time. All they do is they appease the client because they think they got the real deal. But he's not going to fight for you, and he's not going to. Nothing's going to happen unless you get a real attorney and right now you don't have any means to get a real attorney. It takes a credit line or selling your home or selling your car to get an attorney, and that's the sad part because some attorneys are bad, so you can end up wasting money on an attorney.
I've spoken to a bunch of attorneys in the area. They say that he's an okay attorney from what I've gathered from them. It doesn't seem.
Well, I don't know if you speak to Kearney because he's not a dependency juvenile family lawyer. He doesn't have 30 years of experience. I don't think he's ever fought CPS. I think all they do is they are paid by the child protection or the ACL. They're not ACL, ACS, something like that. New York is called the ACS. Yeah, he's paid by the ACS, and there's a conflict of interest there. And plus, he's not really going to fight for you. He has 30 client load. He has 30 or more clients.
I'm trying. I told him when I spoke to him, I said, look, I'm going to try and make this as easy for you as possible. I just need for you to fight for us. That's it. I did. Whenever they told me that they need me to do something, it's done. By the end of that week, it's done.
Yeah,
They told me they wanted me to do parenting classes.
I did the same thing. I did the same thing. And what they want to do, of course, nothing ever seemed to matter until I got a real attorney. Until I hired Vincent Davis, it wasn't. I lost my home. Now I'm without a home. If you can imagine a $2 million home near the beach, you lose to get your family back. That's a hard thing to swallow. It is.
That'll break your spirit.
Yeah, it does. It does hurt that. It does that. What? How often do you visit your children?
I haven't been able to visit them because the whole house is sick. I got to see them for 40 minutes yesterday through a Zoom call. I was supposed to get 2 hours with them.
When you asked for more time, what did they tell you?
I'm sorry.
When you asked for more time, what did they tell you?
Well, they're young. My daughter's 6, my son is 3. Okay. And it's hard for them to sit in front of a tablet
I know.
to chat.
Yeah, I know.
So I asked them, I said, do you want to keep talking with me or would you like to go play with your friends? And they said they wanted to go play with their friends. So I didn't ask for more time.
See, the age of those kids, they don't know what's going on. No one, and in fact, you don't even know what's going on. That's sad.
I don't know what's going on, but my son knows something is wrong.
Right.
Yeah. And so he's so young to have to go through this. This is a time where he's supposed to feel like he's safe and secure, and to be ripped out of the home, it's gotta be devastating for him. He's never been away from me this long. Neither one of them have.
Yeah. Well, here's a little note here from the New York from Little Partner Parenting Guide. It says that my visits prove I'm worth my son's trust. When AC took my son away from me, I felt like my world had ended. At our first visit, I think I went into shock. My son and I spent nearly the whole visit crying over each other. Maybe it was the guilt I was feeling, but I could see the mistrust in my son's eyes. I didn't know how I would be able to win back his trust. The worst part was when I heard him call the foster mother mom. I flipped out. The worker and the foster mom tried to reassure me that I still was and always be his mom, but I felt sure that the workers wanted to keep my child from me. I left in a daze, like I was in a bad dream in slow motion. After that, I began coming to a support group, a parent support group. Is there one that do you have a parent support group anywhere?
The foster agency has a parent support group, but it started before my kids were taken.
Okay.
And I'm really hoping I can get them back before the next group starts. I'm fighting.
It's going to be. It's going to be. It's. And what were the allegations? What were the allegations?
The kids went outside while I was upstairs taking care of my dog,
I'm sorry, I
and
had
my
some
neighbors
background
called the
noise.
police on them.
Can you tell me again what the allegations were?
My kids went outside while I was upstairs. I was washing my dog, and my neighbors called the police on them.
Oh boy.
My neighbors, they've been calling ACS on me since before my oldest was born.
Wow.
They've said everything you could imagine about me. When I was working in the pharmacy, they said I was cooking meth in my house. They said I nailed shut all the windows and doors in my house. They said there was no food in my house. They said I was prostituting myself in front of my children. I've been celibate for years. And I'm prostituting myself in front of my children. Strangers coming in and out of my house all times of the day.
Oh
At night, they said I
jeez.
was dealing drugs.
Did they have any
It's been
proof?
going on for
To,
years.
do they have any proof to this?
No. All the other cases were tossed out. It's this caseworker. Every time that she reached out to me, every time she's spoken to me, she's threatened to take away my children. Every time. Every time.
Well, have you confront her and say, "What do you want from me, ma'am? What do you want me to say or do?"
When the day that she took away my kids, we were all sick. We had been sick for most of the week. And she came into the house. Everybody was still half asleep, waking up. She came in. I had an accident. I told her that I needed to go clean myself up, and I asked her if we could make the inspection quick. She went through the house, came downstairs, started complaining, the house has gotten worse, the house has gotten worse. We've all been sick. Nobody's been doing anything inside of the house. How could it have gotten worse?
Right.
So she went. She said she was going to make a meeting with their supervisor. I said, fine, but I need you to leave because I needed to go and clean myself up.
Okay.
I went upstairs. I cleaned myself up. I came downstairs. I started making breakfast for my kids, and I looked at my phone, and that's how I found out that they were going to take my kids away. And she showed up a couple hours later without a court order, and she took my kids.
Yeah, they're supposed to have a warrant. You're right.
She took my kids without
Now-
a warrant, without a court order.
Now,
She had
did
most
she
of
have the
precinct
police
in front
with
of my
her?
house.
Did she have the police with her?
Yep.
I wish
That's
you
not
never.
the first time that she's
I
shown
wish
up
you
in my
never
house with
opened
the
the
police.
door. I wish you never opened the door. Jessica, my show ends a little bit earlier today because I have a seminar I go to in 5 minutes, and um, I want to continue this. I'm again on at 7 o'clock tonight, or tomorrow morning at 9:45. But I appreciate if you could call back, Jessica, and we can talk some more. I thank you for sharing. The only thing I can tell you is you have to keep following what they're doing. Make that court-appointed attorney do what he's supposed to do, and get it before the judge. You need to have the judge involved, and then keep
Well,
it.
I'm hoping. I don't know how to get the judge involved.
Well,
When
there's
he wasn't even there today.
there's a you can demand that. Also, you may have to go over the social worker's head and go to her boss. You may have to go to the director of ACS.
Well, I know you have to go. I'll call back during
Yeah,
the next show.
please. I don't mean to be cutting you short, Jessica. I really care about you. I wish I was there, give you a warm hug, but what you're going through is horrible, but it will turn around. It will get better. Don't sign anything. Don't make any promises. Do what they ask. If they didn't like the parenting class, they say, "What parenting class you want me to take it?" And do it. And do it. So they can't use that against you. But keep fighting
but
for
now
you.
I have to wait for them to do it, and they're waiting until the last minute to do
I know.
everything.
I know,
They
Jessica.
waited until yesterday to start doing what they were supposed to have done weeks ago.
Yeah, I understand. Well, hang in there, Jessica. Keep keep your head up, and don't give up. Crystal Salazar, I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to hear your update of your case. I know you get your kids back in Amarillo, Texas. Um, no, I mean not your kids back. It's with your daughter and your son, your 15-year-old son that's been accused sexually, and your daughter who's 13. So, Crystal, please come back tonight or tomorrow. Faye, thank you very much for being in this room and all your support and all your messages, Faye. Rosemarie Lombardo, I'm glad that you have your kids back. It's good to hear from you. Please come back again. So I want to thank everyone in this room for listening. And whatever you do, don't give up. Keep fighting for your kids. They will come back. God bless you all. And this is Bob Pace signing off.